My name is Chris Vasquez. I'm a voice actor, podcaster, and lifelong Houstonian. But I gotta admit, I don't know the city and what's happening in it as well as I think a Houstonian should. I mean, if someone from out of town walked up to me and asked me what there is to do, I wouldn't know what to tell them. That's what inspired this podcast. I want to clue you in on news, cool events, quirky things our fellow Houstonians do, what the best new food places are, and highlight people that are doing their part to better this city, becoming real-life Houston heroes. This is Houston Happenings. What is up, Houston, and welcome back to another episode of the Houston Happenings podcast. I'm changing up the format for this week because I have another special episode. That's right, you guys are getting two special episodes back to back. How lucky! If you missed last week's episode, go back and listen to it now because it was a really good one. I had the opportunity to have a conversation with David Atkins, who was featured in episode 3 as that week's Houston hero, for his work supporting Bernie's Burger Bus and handing out free burgers to the community. It was a very thought-provoking conversation, and it was a pleasure speaking with David. I'm talking about one thing for the entire episode because I feel I can't do it justice by confining it to just one segment. In this episode, I'm talking about the Nomad food truck app launch event that I had the pleasure of attending last Saturday. Now, before I go any further, I need to disclose that this episode nor Houston Happenings are in no way sponsored by the Nomad food truck app. I am not getting paid to say any of this. My girlfriend and I just had a wonderful time at the event, and I want to tell you guys about it, plain and simple. That's what it is. So let me give you a quick rundown first off of the app so you understand the context. So Nomad is an app that you can download on your phone. They were previously based only in DC and launched the app in Houston last Saturday. And what you can do with the app focuses entirely on food trucks. It allows you to locate food trucks that are in your area. It also allows you to take a look at their menu, place your order, and even pay for the food all through the app. It's entirely contactless, and in this COVID-19 times that we're living in, that comes in handy. So we find out about the event, and we're like, hey, we love us some food trucks. Let's fucking go. It was Saturday morning, pretty decent day out. I mean, why not, right? So the event was being held outside of the Wild West Bar on Richmond Avenue here in the west side of Houston, which, incidentally, guys, I just remembered they have a really big sign posted up at the front of their establishment saying something along the lines of, "We are a free will establishment. If you believe you need to have a mask on, you probably shouldn't be here." I don't really get into politics on this podcast, guys, but if you want to visit this place while wearing a mask, you might, run into some trouble, just putting that out there. Anyway, so we pull up to the Wild West parking lot, and we feel like we arrived in heaven, because there's a line of food trucks waiting for us. We got that whole kid in a candy store vibe going on. So we develop a plan. We said, all right, let's do an initial run and see what they all have first, and then we'll come back and try out different things. So we do when, we make our decision. First place we're going to hit up is this truck called Coffee Q. It's just like the name says, they have coffee and they have barbecue. And they were actually super smart, in my personal opinion, because, they were set up right at the entrance to the event, sort of like, here, stop by and get your coffee to walk around with first, and then go to all these other trucks. That was certainly what we did, of course. It was a hot day, so we decided to get some cold brew stuff, and mine was pretty good. I got the Sweet Canela cold brew, which they say is a cold brew spiced with cinnamon and lightly sweetened with white chocolate. It was pretty tasty. Cinnamon was definitely noticeable in it, but it wasn't, overly sweet like a lot of iced coffee stuff is. Coffee Q also offers food. They have stuff like quesadillas, tacos, and sandwiches all filled with their barbecue. Unfortunately, we were limiting ourselves to one thing from each food truck, so we didn't get to try it, but I will say it did look really good. The next stop on our trek across the food truck kingdom here was a place called, I hope I pronounced this right. It's Heo's Kitchen. I'm going to say Heo's Kitchen. So we stop by Heyo's Kitchen and we look at their menu. We find that they have dumplings, which I absolutely love, but right next to them, they were advertising these things called shumai. They look like dumplings that kind of, popped open from the top, and they were shrimp and pork, which is always a good combination in my book. We ordered an order of four for $5 flat, and boys and girls, I had my mind blown. These freaking shumai were so good. I've never had them before, and I'm actually pretty sad about that because that's 27 years of my life wasted without shumai in them. If I had to describe them, they're kind of like meatballs wrapped with some sort of dumpling wrapper. The flavor was on point. I mean, get this. Imagine if you get like, the Jimmy Dean's breakfast sausage, the pork sausage, that has that unique sort of like sweet and spicy flavor, and you combine that with really shrimpy, sweet, shrimp, and you get Hale's Kitchen Shumai. Just a really heavy 1-2 punch of like pork and shrimp, when you pop it in your mouth. I wanted more, but, we had to pace ourselves to try a few other things. By far, my favorite thing we had that day. I know, spoiler, save it for the end, Chris. Whatever, I don't fucking care. I love the shumai. Moving on, so the next truck that we hit up was sauciness. If we're being honest, I didn't really understand the name at first, but my girlfriend helpfully explained that when you eat something, when you snack on something, you can also say you're noshing on it. I've never heard that expression before personally, but, it makes sense to me, I suppose. So, Saucy Nosh isn't afraid to get out there and try something new, guys. What Saucy Nosh does is they found a way to do two really cool things. First, they found a way to make egg rolls 5 times their normal size. And second, they discovered they can fill those egg rolls with things other than chicken or veggies. I'm not exaggerating, boys and girls. When they give you your food, you are getting a burrito-sized egg roll. Guys, find me on Instagram at Chris Vasquez _VO. You can see pictures of the event for yourself there. They have both sweet and savory rolls, and it was really hard to choose just one. We were trying to decide in between the crawfish etouffee one and the brisket mac and cheese, but we ultimately went with the mac and cheese one because the etouffee was advertised as, being spicy. The burrito egg roll comes with a small side of fries, and I really like that they seem to have seasoned the fries with Parmesan cheese rather than, salt or other spices. It was really well balanced. It was such a cool experience to eat an extra large egg roll like this. I'm really looking forward to trying some of their sweet egg rolls next time. The owner actually recommended I try the peach cobbler or the apple pecan pie sweet egg rolls, and both of those sound great. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, we closed the day off by visiting Southern Slider Company of Texas. So, let me tell you guys something. Back in 2015, I actually had weight loss surgery and I had the size of my stomach drastically reduced. That means big portions or buffets are really a no-go for me because I either end up not finishing the food and throwing it away or saving it and reheating it later, and it's never as good. You would think super tiny burgers, aka sliders, would be perfect for me, right? You get all the goodness of a burger, but at small, bite-sized portions. The thing is, I always go for the full-size burger instead of the sliders because the sliders are always what I call burger light, if you will. What I mean by that is sliders are never as good as the full-size burger because they're always real bare bones. They only ever have 1 or 2 toppings tops, and that's real boring. I like my toppings on my burgers, bacon, slap it on there. Fried egg, don't mind if I diddly do. Peanut butter and fried bananas, do you even need to ask? But I'm happy to say that Southern Slider Company does not have that problem. They load their sliders up like actual burgers, guys, and I really appreciate them for doing that. These sliders that we got, they had the meat patty, they had bacon, they had lettuce, they had tomato, they had the fried egg, and they were good. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly which ones we ordered because my girlfriend ordered for us while I was, taking pictures, but I can definitely recommend them. We were running short on time, so we didn't get to try any of the other food trucks there, but what we did get to try, we loved, guys. Once again, shout out to Coffee Q, Hale's Kitchen, Saucy Nosh, and Southern Slider Company of Texas for the good grub. I loved it, guys. All of these food trucks have Instagram accounts. You can follow them there to find out where they will be next. If you're watching this on YouTube, actually, I will put links in the description down below to make it easy to find them. If you guys end up checking one of these places out, let them know Houston Happening sent you. Take pictures and tag them with hashtag Houston Haps, guys. I'd love to see that. Anyway, that's it for me, guys. That is the end of another episode of the Houston Happenings podcast. As always, you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter as Chris Vasquez_VO. And remember, if you have a story you want to submit or a Houston hero you want to nominate, all you gotta do, it's real easy, guys. Use the hashtag Houston Haps. That's hashtag Houston HAPS to submit your story and get your opportunity to be featured on the podcast. Once again, guys, thank you so much for listening. Be safe out there and stay Houston strong.